We'll begin. I'm just getting set up on Facebook Live. All right. Welcome to another live webinar for Mobile Tech RX. As always, before we get started, we're going to go ahead and completely poke all the wrong screens. We're going to go ahead and throw up our little disclaimer. Because we're going to be discussing nothing but the hail screens, I am going to be putting in dollar amounts, labor rates, lots of different things, but I am not telling you what you should be charging, how you should be charging, or what agreements you should make. That is all up to you as an individual business owner and the person that you are working for. Please do keep that in mind, because I will put outrageous, I dream dollar amounts on everything. So to begin with, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to get the iPad. I'm going to do this all on my iPad again. As always, do remember, all of this information, the screens are virtually the same now between the tablet and the iPhone. Android people, the update is coming. I promise you. I promise you. They are in final rounds of beta. They sent it to me today. I'm going to play with it here this afternoon and see what I find versus what they find. And hopefully in the coming days, you will have this and it will look like this. And I can quit explaining two different types of systems out there. So I've already got in my customer information. I've got in the car. We're going to beat up the same Toyota Corolla that we've been doing in all of these webinars. Amazingly, this car does not total out. So let's go right into the hail services. We're going to stick just in the hail services. I'll highlight a couple of things that can be done from inside of hail, but we do not have the time. It would take hours to go through every single thing that we can do. So first off, I want to start right up here. Let me make a couple of quick notes here. Right here, the hail matrix. Let's take note of this. Which matrix you have is reading out right here. Now, right now it says that we are on the standard matrix. To view that matrix, just click that view button, and that's going to go ahead and bring up that matrix. And it doesn't matter whatever matrix you are on. However, to change that matrix, you just poke in this change button. Now, you cannot change through your matrices live and in action and change the dollar amounts. You have to pick the one that you're going to do to start with and go with it from there. So if you are working for a company, if you're a subcontractor, you're working for a body shop, make sure that you get in and you have set that client. If you're the one that set that account up and everything, make sure that that client's default hail matrix, you can set that by a client. It doesn't just have to be on yours, but set it by that default client. So if you're subcontracting for a company and you're having to constantly go in there and change that hail matrix, get a hold of whomever it is that you need to talk to and have them set that default hail matrix. If they're having problems with that, they can just call the 888-626-6750. The guys will help, the tech support guys will help them get that set in there and set that default hail matrix. So the last thing you need to be doing is trying to remember to change everything around. For those of you that do need to change from matrix to matrix, depending upon the insurance company you are working with or with the shop, whomever, they are in here in this list under the US category. We've got just about every insurance matrix that there is a paper copy of out and in the hands of somebody inside of Mobile Tech RX. We have all of the large US hail companies as well as some local hail companies. The matrix are in there. You can review them, look at them, print them out. If you need to, print them all out. If you're trying to copy something that's in a conventional estimating system that a body shop is using, Most likely it's going to be follow into the Dent Wizard or the State Farm as the most common use in any of the other major estimating systems. But do keep in mind, everything changes all the time. We give you the ability to open it, look at it, print it, verify. Don't take anybody's word for it, because I don't know when any other estimating system that somebody could be using makes a change. We give you all of these options to get in there. Now, the DRP Extended, Specialty, and Standard are all Mobile Tech RX. Those are our own. Those were created by us and maintained by us. The Specialty Matrix was built with Paul Corden and PDR Profit. That was a joint venture. That's designed for your really high-line cars, your Bentleys, your Ferraris. Most of you aren't going to see that. You're going to use one of these other matrices. So do make sure that that gets default. Canadian users, our Canadian friends, you guys are the same way. We have you in here. Now, for those of you that don't know the difference, when you're in here and you click on one of these Canadian matrices and you see the term Toonie, if you're in the US, you have taken a drastically wrong turn. Use a US matrix. New Zealand, Australia, we only have one of each. If you guys have more and you're tuning into this, email those in to either photos@mobiletechrx.com, john@mobiletechrx.com, or help@mobiletechrx.com. We will get those. Select your matrix. The DRP Extended means it never goes off matrix, so be very careful with that. On the tablet, both sides of the screens are interactive. The list view and the car view with all of the circles on it. On the phone, you will need to just scroll right or left depending upon which screen you are staring at. Both those screens are there. The main reason behind having the list view as well is we get to include stuff that there's just not enough space for, like the fuel lid, spoiler. You can add that custom panel, anything that you need onto that. So let's dive right in. Let's start on the hood. If we're going to tap the dot, it's going to take us immediately into our Hail matrix. And here you're seeing actually what's going to be in the new bug fix. On this, you see the 5 circles. Right now, the present version only has 3. When you have the circles up, you can get in here. Let me bring back up my, my little arrow here. If you click here and just tap that, it'll automatically move to that. Or you can just scroll right or left. And if you flick it fast, you can go all the way in. The very last category is off matrix. In off matrix, you do not have to put in a dent count or a size. Off matrix just allows you to tap the box down here at the bottom, right here. And once you tap there, it brings up the keyboard and allows you just to put in whatever dollar amount you have chosen. Now, if you are going to be in a dent count and a size, it'll automatically put in the dollar amount. So make sure you have corrected. You can just change from the size all the way down. Add-ons are now up top, right up here, along with comparative pricing, the supplement, and the notes. And we're going to kind of go through all of those. So we're going to start on the count. The box is white, and then as you click each one, they become highlighted. So do remember, up top is where all of that is now. The add-ons, we have added a lot more of them recently at your request. So they are all in here, including heat induction. Anything that you guys have requested and shown us that insurance companies have reimbursed you for, then we've gone ahead and added it into the system. It means it's a proven add-on. Somebody is paying for it. Just so you know, Bodyline Dents is actually upon the Progressive Paper Matrix, if you have a copy of that in your hand. To select an add-on, just tap the slider. You don't have to just push it and move it. For those of you that like to, you can. However, you can just tap it. Next, we made these on a slider. This allows you to pick and choose a percentage if you don't like it, if you want it to change, if you don't feel that it was enough, then just move it. Oversized dents. Any of these that have a dent count in them, they have the plus minus. You can raise and lower just by using the plus minus and it goes up. Or if you click the number, it will go ahead and bring up the keyboard where you can then enter whatever amount you choose. I guarantee you that is off matrix and above replacement cost on every car. Like I said, don't use my dollar amounts as an example. But you can tap those boxes, make those changes. If you are not doing the default setting that we have of $40 for oversized dents, then you can just tap the box, zero it out, and put in whatever amount that you want for your oversized dent count. Just that easy. Comparative pricing, for those of you that subscribe to comparative pricing, and I'll pop that up just a little bit because there's one more thing in comparative pricing that is new to Mobile Tech that applies. But now we've broken down comparative pricing by the panel inside of the hail section. So you can look at it. You need to make sure and set that labor rate. If you did not set that default labor rate for that client properly, or they have multiple labor rates for different insurance DRP programs, if you're working for a body shop and they're that way, then you just click that box and change the labor rate. That'll change the amount. If you know they're not going to blend the hood, if they got that super painter that can paint every tri-stage and four-stage color outside of there, take that blend off. You're going to know what that replacement cost. Obviously, I'm well above replacement cost for this particular panel. To handle a supplement, I'm just going to highlight this just a little bit. On our Facebook page, if you're watching this on Facebook, you can go into our video library, and I have an entire tutorial just on doing supplements. So you just click the slider, just tap the slider. It's going to bring up the keyboard. Just type in whatever the insurance company put in, and we automatically figure, and I did not do it. Good job. We automatically figure out the difference and create that supplement. That's all you have to do is select the slider, type in the insurance paid amount, and put it in there. If you have a panel, I'm going to go through notes here in just a little bit for those curious. If you do have any questions, if you have signed up and you're watching this through the Zoom, go ahead. You should be able to type in any question. I'll see it. I will answer it. If you're watching us on Facebook, I should hopefully be able to see it. I have Facebook up here and should be able to see your questions. So pop them up anytime. I'll try to address them as they come up. If you are working for a body shop and you need to just make a note that, hey, a roof or a hood, anything is outside of the repair or PDR, you can see over here in the list view, we have got the conventional buttons. So anytime you tap one of those, you'll turn it to red over here. If you want to just use the car diagram, you just press and hold, and it will automatically change it, and the list view will change to match. You'll see it over here. If you didn't mean to tap it, you can press and hold, and it will go right back to showing no damage. This will just mark a line on the PDF that you would send to the adjuster, the office manager, whoever is receiving it at the body shop, that says, hey, they need to go ahead and figure replacement when they rekey this into their system, or whether or not you send it through our conversion process. We run into this, and this is something that we get asked on. That's why I didn't run into the notes earlier. So let's say we've got a door, and that door just has damage, and we're writing this up for a body shop. We can come over here into the notes, and we can just go ahead and mark that as damaged moldings. And that's it. Now you see you put something on this panel. It is now turned blue. Even though there was no hail on that panel, it has now changed to blue. So you have already looked at it. You've noted the damage that is on that panel. If you are in, and this happens quite a bit with body shops, even a lot of times for you guys with retail shops, and you've had the adjuster in, you've made the agreements, you have your dent count, you have your size. Oh, I've gone completely off matrix. You have a bunch of add-ons. And then you, the shop, the adjuster, whomever, has made another agreement. And in this particular case, we have $743. You guys agreed to do it for a straight $700, but you need to maintain the notes for your frame of reference. Here's how I do that. I will just go down here and I will put in the agreed to amount. I will go up here and I will just take away the dollars. Here, I will just take away the slider. Now I've left all of those notes in there, but I have my agreed on amount. And this really works if you're estimating in a retail format and you've got PDR techs in the back working, and if they're fixing a panel and they see a dollar amount and don't see any markups, you know, they might come to you, request that, hey, we need to do a supplement and we need to add the markups. They don't realize that you have made this agreement. By leaving all of those showing, everybody has a record that all of that was included. Now, what I do in a case like this is I will go in and I will check the custom note box here, and then I will add my custom note. So for me, I use keyboard shortcuts. Now, I've talked about this and posted this many times on Facebook. I'll go ahead, I'll make a video about just doing the keyboard shortcuts, but you can see I just type in my MI and my markups included. I don't have to type that out now. So that is now marked onto that panel. We've marked that panel how it is that we wanted it to read. We're showing all of our notes. We're making all of the documentation. Just making sure, I'm going to reiterate this one more time. If we are off matrix, you will need to put in that amount right here. When you do that, you're not putting any dent count or size in. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at the PDF that we have created. So this is what is going to be viewed when you see this. And this is what's going to get sent off. I'm sorry, when you send this off as an email, whether you print this out, this is how these panels are going to read. So you can see on that right rear door, we went ahead, we added in there that the markups were included in total. It's very simple, but yet all of my markups are still shown. So I still show that it was a high strength steel panel, and I still show that we are doing the oversized dents, but we're doing it for this one total dollar amount. And I put in that custom note. Now on this right front door, if we were doing that for a body shop and we were just letting them know that, hey, they're going to come out here and put the moldings on that panel, then we've marked that they are damaged moldings, and it's right here under the right front door. No more trying to, you know, yell up front or go chase anybody down. You've now marked that there's damaged moldings. There's no other damage on the panel. Your hood, all of its markups. From inside the Hale Services screen, when we are in here, we can now tap right down here in this lower corner, and we can go straight to the photos for that panel. We can go straight into the parts for that panel and straight into R&I. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into parts. We're going to go ahead and click on the parts here and just kind of highlight into it. But it's going to go ahead and it's going to label. Now you see up at the top, in the old version, of Mobile-Tec, we had to go in and tell it which panel to go to. This is one of those speed things that I talked about in the changes webinar that I did back in the end of January. We've automatically set it up on that door. We can go in, we can add this OEM parts. If we're putting those moldings onto it, then we can go through. And next week, I'm going to do an entire webinar devoted to nothing but the parts. I was hoping to include it in here, but it is just so large that it needs its own half hour or longer to get into it. I will do this, give you this one add-on tip, however, when it comes to doing parts. If you are on the hood, for those of you that are putting in and adding the hood retainer clips, if you come in here under Other and add the hood insulator clips, now you're going to need to come in, it's going to come right back to this screen right here. And what I do is I go under the part number, because there's no part number on these hood retainer clips. So I'll put the amount, the number count, and then how much they cost. And then I'll have my full price over here for them. And I know 12 times 25 cents doesn't equal $100, but I told you I was going to put ridiculous amounts. Then you just click that Done Adding Parts. So that's where you can put those hood retainer clips. Right there, it's under that parts, under Other. Now the remaining parts, please tune in next week, and we're going to dive really deep into the parts and how to order those. If we need to add those R&Is right into that, you'll notice up top, we've got two, labor pricing and item pricing. If you do not know the difference, you're in luck. I know how to explain it. Item pricing is if you are working for a body shop or you are including the R&Is into your cost. Then item pricing means you're just going to go ahead and select those two, and then that's it. They're just going to be out there. Without putting a dollar amount in the box, then you're just putting a note on that PDF that says the insulator and the hood are both going to be R&I'd. If you're writing for a body shop, this allows them to just put that into their software instead of adding labor pricing and then going in and arguing back and forth as to who was 1/10 of a where, because who knows what system they're using. Then you can go ahead and just make that note that says, hey, they need to include that insulator or that hood. If you're doing a wholesale gig and you have a PDR guy, but you have set an overall static price, you know, of say $10 per hood, then you can add it in here under item pricing. And that allows you to just do a straight dollar amount for whatever agreement that you have set up. So if you put in a dollar amount or you do not put in a dollar amount, it's going to show. If you're doing labor pricing, then we're going to use labor times. The R&I rate that you see right up here has got to be set. Again, make sure that you have those client rates set and that R&I rate locked in. That just keeps you from having to make that change here every single time. Now, we only allow one setting. So if you are working for a body shop that does have multiple DRPs and different labor rates, then keep an eye. Make sure that you put in your proper labor rate if you're trying to match, or if you have a special agreement for a specific insurance company. Make sure that you get that labor rate in, and then it's just a matter of checking what you're doing, and they add up the dollar amount automatically. Click the Done Adding R&I, and you have now added parts and R&I. I'm not going to add a photo in here, but if you're taking a photo, it's automatically going to throw that right up on that panel. So if we are in the hood, we click the photos on hood, it's automatically going to put that under the hood section of the photos. It only makes sense. The idea here is to not have you bounce from screen to screen to screen to screen in order to do the simple process of writing an estimate on a hood, adding in the R&Is, and taking a photograph or including the parts. We're doing it all in the screen in one set of steps. If at any point you need to review that by an individual screen, you still can. You can see now it's highlighted each of those sections, but it's available right there in that portion. So we're going to pop back up into this print preview and show how what we've added and the changes that we have made. So now we see here on the hood, we've added the insulator clips. We've added the amount of them and their price, and then their overall amount. And again, I know that math doesn't add up. I wish it did. The R&I mounts are sitting right over here under the body section. If we had had paint and we're doing anything conventional, the paint time, our labor time would show here. Here we're given a complete breakdown through the parts and the amount of R&I, but your actual dent count, size, and what it priced out as, along with all of your oversized. So that's what you want it to show up, and that's how you want it to read out. You know, the idea here is to document, 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 document. I cannot stress documentation enough when you are doing this. Even down here, as we did this and we included it and we put it in here, we documented it. I did those in the replacement text on my Apple products. Now I'm playing with Android. I'm really trying to find a good app to help you Android guys out that will allow this. If you do have any tips, tricks, send that to me, John at Mobile Tech, or hit me up here on Facebook, or post it to our Facebook page. But that replacement text gives you that flexibility to put in anything. My personal system has lots of different things wrapped up in that replacement text, because there's other things that I'm just going to include that just doesn't make sense for us to put into Mobile Tech as a whole. This allows you to speed up. Those of you who do a lot of R&Is, you guys label everything. I do recommend that you put A pillars, B pillars. I do that in my own, and then I add them as a separate item in the R&I section. The trunk here at off matrix, this is what I was talking about. Anytime you go off matrix, we label it as an off matrix. If you don't put any other notes, anything right there, then you can go in and explain to that insurance adjuster what the off matrix means, how it is that you came up with that price. Just know, if you throw this out there, and I'm not telling you to put $1,500 on a trunk lid, if you do, you better be prepared to argue about it. Don't call and say, but John said I could. I didn't. I would like to. Make sure you know, if you're going to do that, make sure you understand your pricing. Comparative pricing, this is what I was talking about right here for comparative pricing. If you make sure and put that VIN number in, you can get the NADA book value. For those of you who are doing the hard smashes, the heavy hits, and you are still repairing those cars, Colorado really comes to mind, Colorado Springs especially. Make sure you know, if you know where your insurance company, you're working retail, and you know where that insurance company is totaling, or even if you're doing this for a body shop, if you know where that insurance company is totaling, change this percentage by just tapping the plus minus, and you know what you need to keep that value. The value for that car is dropping down. So you would know that overall, you would want to keep this overall estimate price at under $11,000 to keep it from totaling. I totaled it just on the hood alone, but you know, they'll most likely put a hood on this one. That is neither here nor there. But do keep that in mind. If you're doing retail stuff and you need to keep that value, it is there. It's in the comparative pricing. That is our only add-on. There's lots of discussions. I have other videos that involve nothing but comparative pricing. You can find that on our YouTube page and here on Facebook. If you wrote your whole estimate on the wrong matrix, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to come in here and we're going to go ahead and say that, oh, this was supposed to be the standard. You're going to get this pop-up. Changing the matrix will delete the previous estimate data. It will. It's going to wipe. As soon as I say yes, now I have to start back over. Now, we are hoping to get this changed, but there's no system out there right now that does. That's why I can't stress you guys often enough. I've had a great many of you every hail season do call and say, oh, I used the wrong matrix and it deleted everything. Please Make sure that you have that matrix. If you are working as a subcontractor, make sure that those clients have their default matrices set so that you don't have to do this. Confession time, I've done this 1,000 times myself. So it's not just you guys out there. The programming for this thing is intense. And to be able to do that is intense, doesn't really describe the level of head explosion our programmers went through when we asked for this. One of the things that I've done is I write everything on a tablet, just like I'm doing right here for the show. I like a tablet. I don't like looking at a little phone screen. So I'll actually bring up the print preview on my phone and then rewrite the estimate and recopy down. You are going to do this. If you're somebody who has to change that matrix a lot, you are going to experience this. This is why we don't, one of the thousands of reasons why we don't keep track of the number of devices that you have. But if you do have a phone and a tablet, pull it up on the tablet, rewrite it right into your device. It really makes life fast. It really makes life simple. So just to reiterate, we're into hail. We have our matrix selected. We pick our dent count and our size, and it produces a dollar amount down here in this box. If you need to change that dollar amount at any time, you can just tap into that box. If you have an agreement that you have made or you have settled on some sort of alternate pricing with your shop or with the insurance company, then you can just go ahead, back it out, and change to whatever price that you agreed to. It's still going to show the count and the size for your records, but then you've just gone back through and made that, changed that dollar amount to the agreed upon price. The add-ons, remember, tap the little slider. You don't have to hold your finger on it. You don't have to do anything. Just tap the slider, change that percentage. If you don't like that percentage, you're going to just change it up. Now I want to highlight this part right here just a little bit, our double panel and glue pull. For those of you that are tuning in that have not gone and messed with the new system since we've done this update, and for those of you on Android, you're going to see these change. It used to be double panel glue pull, and now we have separated them out, and they're in their own little categories. The reason for that being is insurance companies were starting to say that they did not pay for glue pull, but they did pay for double panel. So following their guidelines, we have then separated and allow you to mark it as a double panel or mark it as a glue pull. Stuart, there's no hard stuff in the springs. Yeah, that's what I have seen. Oh, I got it stuck on my screen. So doesn't look like we're really running too many questions. I think if you're all pretty well straightforward, please, this is being recorded. It's going to be on our YouTube. Just find us at mobiletechrx.com. That's our website. We're at MobileTechRx on YouTube. Find us if you followed us and you're watching this live on Facebook. Obviously, you found the MobileTechRx Facebook page. If you haven't, if you're just following this, like us on Facebook. We put all of this stuff. It's in the video section on Facebook. We keep it on the YouTube. It takes a couple of hours for this to render, and then I can get it loaded up onto our YouTube channel. Anytime you have questions, if you're one of the companies that runs subs and your subs are out there in the field and you have them using MobileTechRx, if they have questions, make sure that they understand that they can call us as well. It doesn't have to be the owner of a company. It can be anybody, from the secretary to the techs in the back, subcontractors. If they have questions, call us at 888-626-6750. It can be found right here in the info section, right there. We've got it. It's just, if you're on the phone, you can tap the little circle and it's going to call us right up. Honestly, I don't know what's going to happen if I tap it on this, tap it on there at the moment. But yeah, on the phone, you're going to be able to just call that in. anytime you have questions, if you're in comparative pricing and you're like, oh, there was no x-ray photo, send those photos into photos@mobiletechrx.com. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, if there are any questions, go ahead, shoot them out. Right now, it looks like everybody's kind of understanding. We're clearing up that you don't need to be in the Springs, apparently. But those cars were hit hard, and that's where a lot of this information that I'm bringing to you, people had those questions. Jade, where can you get one of these shirts? Mobile Tech Expo. That's where you can get one of these t-shirts. We'll have a stack of them at the expo. Come by, say, John told me to come get a t-shirt, and then we'll give you a t-shirt. If we don't get the detail screens in there, you can hit me with the t-shirt. I've already confessed that. So please like us, follow us on Facebook. We're on Instagram. I don't update it often enough. Again, thank you for tuning in. This will be loaded up. It will be on our YouTube channel. Reference it. If there's anything that you need, john@mobiletechrx.com is my email. That's going to come directly to me. I'm not a computer guy. Don't ask me hard computer questions. Just ask me usage questions. If it's computer stuff, I'm going to send you over to help@mobiletechrx.com. Dwayne, Eric, Micah, they're going to be able to knock it out of the ballpark. They're who I use for my tech support. So thank you and take care. Hope you have a great hail season. Tune in next week. We're going to go all about parts, how to order, how the parts section works, manually inputting more stuff. Take care.